start recording is good to go.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Browns recap, episode 9. Hey, everybody. There's a victory that's been had today. You know what this is? This isn't sad bourbon today. This is the Cleveland bourbon I bought to drink every time we won. This is only the second time I've drank it this season. Let me get a sip. I forgot what it tastes like.
Let's see the reaction here. Ooh, looks delicioso.
Delicioso. Listen, I'm upset we won. I'm dead serious.
Because of the draft
Not
pick?
joking. Come on, bro. Listen. You do not want to be 7-9 when the season ends. You don't want to be drafting 10 to 15. You want to be drafting 1 to 5. 1 to 5 helps this team more than 10 to 15 does. One draft pick isn't going to save us. But if you get the top draft pick right, it does help us. But we'll move into that a little later. For now, let's celebrate that it seems as though there's... Is that a light at the end of the tunnel? You see that light? Wait a minute. Is there a light?
You see it? I saw it pop up.
Do you see the light at the end of the tunnel? How do you feel?
So I was, weirdly enough, I was listening to the radio broadcast while watching the game because I wanted to hear Nathan Zagura and them call the game. Because we know the late great Jim Donovan, passed away recently last week.
Rest in peace, Jim. This was for you. This was for you.
And that's what it seemed like. I am happy we won for that fact. Because
100%.
it was for Jim Donovan. And you can, if you guys haven't, go listen to the radio broadcast. Nathan Zagura was crying after Cedric Tillman scored that touchdown. Like, you can hear it in his voice. He was choking up. And that was before the game was even over yet.
Yeah.
And you could hear it slowly, catch up to him, which totally reasonable. You don't need to be professional when it comes to something like that.
Yeah. Jim's a Cleveland legend, bro. 100%.
And I'm glad we put him in the Hall of Fame before he did pass away. So he got his roses while he was still alive.
Absolutely. My dude got to smell his flowers while he was still here.
And that's great. I love that. And no, I'm happy to win for that fact. And Nathan Zagura and them on the call also basically kind of said that a lot of the receivers on the Ravens and some DBs like Kyle Hamilton dropped a lot of balls that should have been catchable. And it seemed like
Hamilton won that game.
And it seemed like someone up above had their hand in the game a little bit. So
was Jim in there batting down passes that were being intercepted? Like, get out of here.
Jim might have been in there blowing on the ball, swatting the balls away, and hey, thanks, Jim. Love you, Jim. Appreciate you for everything.
Get this done for you.
I love Jim. So we'll move on from that. And I know that he deserves way more time, but we don't have all that time for this episode. So, shout out to Jim. Rest in peace, Jim Donovan. It was for you.
Can I go somewhere first?
Go ahead. You giving me bad news or good news? Bad vibes,
this
good
is
vibes.
good news, man. Well, this is where do we go from here conversation, because today, if you've watched every Browns game this season, like most of us who watch this recap, you and I have, today the team seemed extra inspired. And I know the passing of Jim Donovan, I'm sure could be 50% of it, could be 60% of it, could be 70% of it. But I think they were inspired for a different reason. And I don't want to be that guy, but I don't think they were inspired to play for Deshaun Watson. I think they were playing in spite of Deshaun Watson. I think a weight has been lifted off this team because what do they say? Bad apple ruins the bunch. If you put one piece of molded fruit up against a bunch of other fruit, it'll mold the rest of the batch. You kind of see you picking up what I'm putting down here?
I'm picking it up.
I don't want to be that guy, but I don't want to assume, you know. But it seems as though this team now played better, and not because of play calling, but because of the different person at quarterback. The line just mysteriously held up today.
We did shout out. We got some health back. So
We did get some help back, but I mean, players, other than false starts, how many holes did we have today?
not very many.
How many times did Jameis get sacked?
Not very
Was it
many.
twice, maybe three times? Weren't we averaging 7 sacks a game against us prior to this game? I'm pretty sure the stat was 7 that we were giving up.
Pretty
That-
close. Yeah.
so a 4 to 5 sack discrepancy. It's just crazy. And I don't want the casual fan to be like, well, Ken Dorsey's calling plays now. That's why the offense looked better. No. I'm not accepting that. Because I watched last season, Kevin Stefanski win 11 games with 4 different quarterbacks. Started 5,
Yeah.
but won 4 of them and won 11 games. Think the offense looked better because there was a competent quarterback who was willing to let the ball go, who doesn't hold on to the ball, and who doesn't run around in the pocket or abort the pocket too soon. And I think the team, need I say, was happy about that.
You can definitely tell in the receivers and the tight ends that they were a little more happy because guess what? They got the ball more. Elijah Moore got the ball
Elijah
more.
Moore had a game. Great game, Elijah Moore.
And that's the dude that we brought in from the Jets that we knew what he could do. That's what he can do. He just wasn't getting the ball.
Jerry Jeudy looked like a pretty competent wide receiver 1 today. Cedric Tillman looked like a possible number 1. 2 touchdowns for Cedric Tillman.
Back-to-back
I was
good
excited
weeks.
when we drafted him. I was excited when we drafted him out of Tennessee. Big receiver, strong hands, likes to go up and get it. I like that pick. And now he's getting his moment with a quarterback that doesn't mind letting it go. Look at what he did. Versus a good defense.
A playoff caliber defense because that's what their goal is.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to be the guy to blame it all on Deshaun, but Deshaun was the problem. He was a big part of the problem. Whether you want to say 50, 60, 70%, whatever percent you want to put on it, I'll let you do that. But you cannot deny what happened today. And it's only one game. I don't want to overreact.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to overreact because Jameis should have probably thrown 2 interceptions, maybe 3. He got a fumble.
Yeah.
They scored off of it immediately.
Yeah.
And that's one thing Deshaun didn't do. He didn't turn the ball over much. But we get a turnover and still score 20 points for the first time this season. The drought has ended.
And our defense didn't get a touchdown.
Our defense didn't score. And we also had another achievement today, ladies and gentlemen. Not only did we have our first 200 passing yard game by a quarterback, we can finally scratch Joe Flacco off the list for the last quarterback to throw for 300 yards. Thank you, Jameis Winston. More clapping.
I did see a stat on Twitter. I don't know the exact number of what it is, but they were our last 5 quarterbacks to throw for over 300 yards. Deshaun's not in that.
No, he's never thrown for 300 yards as a Brown.
Yeah.
300 yards as a Brown. So, where do you go from here? I mean, obviously, I'm sure James probably starts the rest of the season, but going into next year, Deshaun is still on the books. He's due to come back. What do you do? And I know this is early to talk about this. It's been one game. It's one win. We're still 2-6. Now, can you go on a run? Sure. You're getting 9-7, or 9-8. I'm sorry, 10-7. Not gonna happen.
No,
it's not. Sorry, Cleveland fans. I don't want to be that guy.
Rip off 10 straight.
Right. Not gonna happen. But the team, you can't deny, as an entire team, we didn't look better today. They looked happy. They
I
were
was gonna say
cheering. They were celebrating.
energized.
Energized. Re-energized, to be exact.
And this is coming off of a week to where a lot of our players and fans were kind of going head to head a little bit. Our players were calling out our fans for booing, Deshaun when he got hurt, which absolutely I agree. And our
A
fans
little
were
classless, but
great
we are Cleveland.
yeah, our fans were good today. And
I still have to get my shirt in here. Hold
rightfully
on.
so. And yeah, shout out to that shirt, the I Know Ball Network. Shout out to the OG
Get you one.
NWO.
Get you one.
Only $20. Only $20 at our shop. Link down below in the description. And we got a little more merch in there, so it's support us and we appreciate it. So, but no, they definitely seemed way more energized. Especially on the defensive side of the ball as well. When we lost some key players, our defense did step up. And offense as well. Nick Chubb is slowly, surely, but getting back to that Nick Chubb. So
he looked better today. Looked healthier. Looked fresh.
He had that big 15-yard gain was like his first big gain, and the whole
whole stadium. Though. I liked it.
Whole stadium started cheering because that's his longest run in how long now?
Yeah.
And he's gonna slowly work his way back. I don't expect him to be the prime Nick Chubb, come 2 games into the season so far for him. Now what to expect for Jameis? I don't expect very much from Jameis. Like that interception dropped by Kyle could have just ended the game right then and there. Probably should have.
100%.
But shout out to him for not being gun shy, because guess what? Next play, Cedric Tillman throwing it deep, wide open, touchdown.
And that's what the fans wanted from Deshaun. It was give your playmakers plays or chances to make plays.
Yeah.
And he did that today. The willingness, I'm sure he probably completed more 15 or 20-yard passes probably than Deshaun's completed all season. Literally. I wish I would have looked it up because I wanted to before, but I think Jameis probably passed up his longest pass in one game, his longest completion.
Yeah.
And it wasn't yards after catch. He caught it in the end zone. Yeah. Literally. And he threw for 15, 20-plus yards more often than Deshaun has even attempted this year. The balls were going into receivers' hands, not into the dirt, not over top of them. It's just, we already knew Jameis isn't a bad quarterback. We've seen what Jameis is. He's had a full career already. You know who he is. He's willing to throw the ball. He will throw picks. But he's going to go out there and he's going to compete. And that's what he did.
He's going to sling that thing.
He's slaying it. And that's all we want. It's all we want. Baker, what do we love about him? Gunslinger. He's going to throw the ball.
And his attitude.
That's all we want.
We loved his attitude.
We did love his as the kids would say, his aura.
His aura was off the charts.
Even the Zens on the sideline that are not allowed.
Yeah, they're banned. You can't have him on the sideline. He's going to get fined for that. They said they gave him a warning, so I don't know.
Yeah, just a warning.
That's
so
good.
We did have some key injuries today that could be a little worrisome. JOK, Denzel Ward. Was that it?
Yeah, those are the 2 main injuries on defense for sure. Denzel had 5 concussions since 2018 coming into this game, looking like this is his 6th. And we'll start with him first. We talked about it already a little bit when he had that concussion, scare before. When do you kind of sit down with yourself and say, do I need to keep going out here and keep doing this?
He's really young, man, and sustaining that many concussions. The dude's not even 30 years old. What's Denzel? 27?
Off the top of my head, I would say 28-ish. You got to think, came into the league in 2018. So he's at least played a decent amount for us. He's 27, you're right. His birthday was in April. So realistically, he turned 27 early this year. Yeah, I thought he was older than that, to be honest with you. And it's a little worrisome.
Yeah, for sure. And everybody, talks about Tua's concussions because of the neurological aspect of how his body responds.
Yep.
And, what he does when he gets concussion. But at the end of the day, having 5+ concussions between the ages of 19 and 27. That can't be good long term. You know what I mean? And I mean, a lot of these dudes are football players through and through. So as long as they can go out and compete, they're going to do it. But yeah, I mean, there definitely should be some conversations with him as far as like his long term health and is it worth it to potentially sustain another one or two. You know what I mean? He's 27. He's got a lot of football left.
And I'm not going to compare him to Megatron, Calvin Johnson, but I would definitely reach out to players like that saying, hey, you quit early in your career or, where you could have still produced Luke Kuechly because of concussions and head injuries. And then actually have that conversation. Because if you ask Calvin, I don't think he regrets retiring.
Yeah,
if you ask Kuechly, I don't think
probably wishes he could play.
Yeah, he wishes he could play.
Regret that.
Yeah, I doubt he regrets retiring as well. So I think he definitely needs a serious, sit down and to think about it. Is that going to be this year? Probably not. I mean, maybe.
I doubt it.
I doubt it, but I hope the health and everything for Denzel to be good.
For sure. And then my boy JOK got folded like a lawn chair. I'm not making light of it. It's football, but you gotta fold it.
And it's not like one of those injuries to where like it was head on head, like just 1-on-1. Derrick was kind of getting tackled a little bit, and he kind of just threw his body in there, and just so happened that head snapped the wrong way it wanted to go, and he went unconscious. And
it's a lot of man to get hit by.
And yeah, and stretcher everything with JOK. We know who JOK is. That dude will run into anything, head down, head up, put his body on the line, right? And to see that happen, a player like him too, a very aggressive linebacker, that's a little scary as well. So, I mean, you never want to see those injuries, and I don't want to be the guy to say it or anything like that. I don't think Guardian caps help that much. We know JOK is the one that does wear them. Did that help right there? I don't know. I mean, did it make less of an impact on that? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm trying to figure out like what's a good way for NFL players not to have all these head injuries and concussions and CTE potentially in the future. And I just don't.
Helmets. Let them play with no helmets. If you don't have any protection, you won't put your head down. Look at the statistics on concussions in rugby. Look at the statistics on concussions in rugby.
You're running straight up and you're pushing people over.
Yeah, exactly, because they're in rugby, they know there is no head protection. If me and you were playing backyard football, do you think I'm going to go like this and hit you head on? Why would I do that?
I'm trying to stiff arm, juke, spin, and if I'm tackling you, I'm just trying to grab you or just run into you as hard as I can.
We've already seen what happened to your skull. We have. I know you're not leading with your head, sir. So I'm just saying, take the helmets off.
I don't think you guys can't really see it.
A little bit.
It's right back here. It's right back there. If you guys don't know,
insert the picture. Just insert the picture.
I don't know if I can on YouTube, to be honest. It's a little gory, but mine wasn't even from football. It was from basketball. Had a meanest pump fake you would ever see. To where I had the guy jumping behind me. I tried to do like the Steph Curry to LeBron when LeBron blocked it. So I had this guy jumping behind me. I put my head up to like shoot the layup. And as I'm going up, this dude's coming down with his teeth and just basically scalps my head. Just takes the chunk right out of my head with his teeth. So I went to check the ball back up and realized there was a lot of blood running outside of out the side of my face. And I was like, this ain't right. I'm like, someone needs to take me to the hospital. So
help.
Yeah, I'm not leading with my head anymore, brother. I don't even want to drive in when I play basketball anymore because I get PTSD every time I go in. So I don't even pump fake anymore. Yeah,
good thing Bogdan shoots a lot of threes.
That's what I've been practicing. You know what I'm saying? 7 threes in a game. I'm that kind of guy.
So, if you had to choose the path of this team for the remainder of the season, our previous over-under was 3.5 games. I think we said that. We talked about it.
We said the under. I said under.
I said under. Now Jameis is in. That was before Deshaun Watson's injury. But Cleveland fans, I would love for you to comment. I would love for people to comment underneath this. Please, if you watch this video and you watch it to this point, hear this question and comment down below. This will be a TikTok and an Instagram question. But where would you like to see this team go for the remainder of the season? Do you want to see them go on a run and end the season with 7-8 games? Or do you want to see one of those odd instances where Jameis comes out, he looks great for 2 games, he wins 2 games, and now we're 3-6, and all of a sudden they put DTR in the game, and we end the season with 4 wins, and we're 4-13. Where do you want to see this team end after seeing what we've seen today? Because season is almost too far gone with the schedule we have ahead of us.
And the division we're in.
Exactly. If we had the games we've already played in front of us, and we had already played Kansas City behind us, the Ravens maybe one more time, the Steelers, those games were behind us. And you already had, you have the Giants coming up, Washington coming up, those games that were winnable games. It would maybe be a different answer because now you see schedule doesn't look that tough now.
Yeah.
Where do you want to see this team go for the remainder of the season?
I would
Tough
say,
question.
Yeah.
Tough question.
I would want it to be us having 3-4 wins. That's what I would want. We all know in the NFL and organizations and coaches don't want to only win 4 games in a season. Players don't want to win 4 games in a season. Organizations might want to do that just because of the draft and they want to quote unquote rebuild. I don't know if we're going to have, I think we'll have around 4 to 5 wins by the end of the season if Jameis, plays like that and our offense kind of looks decent. Because we all know those players are going to play for contracts still. Tillman's still on a rookie deal, wants to prove himself. I'm going to go on real quick. Elijah Moore still hasn't popped out as that star wide receiver yet, wants to prove himself. Jerry Jeudy, booted out of Denver, not good, not worth his overall pick when he was drafted, wants to still prove himself. Nick Chubb, coming back from injury, wants to prove himself. I think Jameis kind of understands where he's at. So he's just going to go out there and ball. He's just going to play ball. Football. He's just going to go play football.
He's in the same spot as Joe Flacco last year.
Yeah, and Jameis is good enough to where even if he's stunk it up this year, he's going to get another backup, spot somewhere else.
Yes, absolutely.
If Tim Boyle can be a backup in the NFL and get starting games when he only threw one touchdown pass in his career in college, Dontea. 1 touchdown pass in his career in college. 1 touchdown to 13 interceptions. That is insane. At Connecticut, that is the most insane stat to where Tim Boyle went to the NFL, played more games, and won. I think he has 4 touchdowns to 12 picks or something like that, which is better average than what he had in college somehow. Anyways, you can go on with your point. I just want to say Tim Boyle, I don't know how the hell he got reps.
So we're 2-6.
Yeah.
We have the Chargers next week. Would you say that's a winnable game?
The Chargers don't look spectacular. I mean, Ladd McConkey had 2 receiving touchdowns, I believe, today. He looked all right, but I think that's a winnable game.
If you look at who we beat today,
might have to take his blue off then.
You're like, the Ravens are better than the Chargers. Different style of play, but you look at the Chargers game, that's a winnable game, right?
Yep.
Let's go to the Saints. A little banged up, got some injuries. Haven't been looking the best. That's a winnable game. Hypothetically.
That's 4.
We're at 4 wins now.
Yeah.
The Steelers look really good right now.
Yeah.
They're playing great.
Russell
Wilson looked good.
I feel like they would sweep us this year. I know Browns fans don't want to hear that. Yeah. They got a great defense, and if Russ continues to play better, then it's no comparison.
Yeah. And traditionally we have a little trouble with Russ, but Steelers division game, anything can happen. I still consider that a winnable game. If I had to bet on it, probably wouldn't bet on the Browns.
Traditionally, we don't have good success against the Steelers either. So
right. And then you move to the Broncos. Good defense. Okay, offense. Looks like a winnable game.
Bo Nix got 4 tutties today. He was balling out.
He did. And I'm not one of those guys that thinks now that Jameis threw for 300 yards and a few touchdowns and the defense looked good, they're like, oh my God, we're going to go on a run. I don't want us to go on a run. I have been adamant about a rebuild.
Yeah.
Now, with Jameis at the helm and the pieces that we have, am I changing my mind about a complete and total rebuild? Possibly. What if Jameis does look good and, we win, I don't know, 7 games, and somehow we end up drafting Cam Ward, Shador, whatever? What are you doing with Deshaun? Do you just start Jameis next year and let this rookie quarterback learn from him and just let Deshaun be second string and just let his contract eventually just dissipate? He's already had a shoulder injury. He's had the adversity. He's had the fans against him. He's had the allegations. He's got the looming deal. Will he come out and be any different than what we've seen? No. He's got an injury up top and down low. He's not going to look better.
I did want to bring this up because, we said Winston probably won't keep this up, right? We were not expecting him to do that. And that reminded me to his Saints debut, his second year with the Saints. I believe that this is his first start. He had 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, 5 passing touchdowns, no picks against the Green Bay Packers. You're like, damn.
I remember that game.
They're like, we might ball out. I had to look it up.
He had 1 touchdown and 2 picks.
Probably. He went 14 for 20, but he only threw for 148 yards. So he was getting the ball inside the red zone for the most part. I'm curious on what the next game is. They played the Panthers, and he no touchdowns, 111 yards, and 2 picks. So there's a Jameis out there like that too. So
that's Jameis, though.
Reel it back in, fans. That's what we might see, and that's what we might get. I might leave this white on. Does this white look better on me than the?
It looks good.
Okay, we'll leave this on then.
I just want our best opportunity to lose.
Don't disagree. I don't disagree at all.
So, I mean, I don't know. Did you have anything else you wanted? That's still my opinion. Is maybe not complete and total rebuild now. Maybe I'm a little changed because now I can see the team. They can play football. Maybe they were just a little uninspired.
Just tiny bit uninspired. And now they're inspired. I will say that I completely forgot what I was gonna say. To be honest with you, I had something in my mind, and you went and talked. I was hoping I was gonna get it back. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was gonna say, Dontea. Completely. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. If you guys watch our weekly live streams or anything like that, I did kind of have like a joking little thing to where I did a Browns mock draft, to where I believe I took 6 offensive linemen and 3 quarterbacks in that draft. We got Cam Ward, I got Dylan Gabriel, and Jackson Dart. Hey, I see nothing wrong with it. We need as much QB help. Right. We gotta get one right. Put them all keep them all for a year. 3 quarterbacks battling out in practice. You'll see who's gonna be good. You got to hit on one, hopefully, and then we got 6 offensive linemen we drafted. You got to hit on maybe 2 at least.
At least 2.
You see what I'm saying?
Move around a little. Maybe it'll work out.
And I drafted a linebacker and a corner. So hey, what's crazy? That's crazy actually. I drafted a linebacker from Alabama and a corner I forget from where, and then our linebacker and corner get hurt.
You did this. This is your fault.
I'm not that important in the world to where I did that, so I didn't jinx it. That's really all I got for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, this week, it did spark a little conversation of if Deshaun Watson was the problem. I know we talked about that. You believe that. The Jim Donovan, rest in peace. The game was for him. That's why I was excited to talk about the game today because, it's a very important game in Browns history. It might not seem like it looking at the box score or the date, but it is. And then other than that, our future for the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson. What do you do with him like you said? I think you just draft that rookie. Hopefully we get a top 5 pick. Hopefully, the Patriots have a top 5 pick, so they're not going to move on from Drake May. Hopefully Bryce Young starts to ball out maybe a little bit, so the Panthers get a top 5 pick and they don't want to move on, but I think they're going to move on from him. But our only hope is hopefully that the teams in front of us don't really need that quarterback. And we get to pick a little litter, hopefully. That's our goal.
I just want to say today, Jameis Winston was sacked twice.
Today was a good day.
Last game, Deshaun Watson was sacked twice, but he only played the first half of football.
Yeah.
Each quarterback that I played after that was only sacked once. The previous game versus the Commanders, Deshaun was sacked 7 times. The game prior to that versus the Raiders, Deshaun was sacked 3 times. Let's go back to the Giants. I remember that one didn't look good. He was sacked 8 times.
Yeah.
You know, let's keep going. There's a trend here. He was sacked twice versus the Jags.
I remember saying as you keep finding them, there was definitely, I kept the stats of us and the 0-16 Browns, and we were definitely sacked way more.
And he was sacked 6 times versus the Cowboys. Yeah, man, I just wanted to leave you guys with that. That's all. But please, I would love feedback on this episode. I really want to hear from you guys this episode. So please, if you're a viewer, no matter where you stop at, please comment down below. I need your opinions. I just want to see.
And comment, do you think Bailey Zappi's ever going to play for us this year? It might happen.
It could be a good chance to lose.
Jameis gets
Whoever gives us the best chance to lose.
And shout out Jameis before we go. His interviews, I don't know if you've seen any post-game or, halftime, anything, pre-game. Jameis's interviews are hilarious. And
Gold.
I win or lose, I love watching Jameis just play football and talk. That dude is hilarious.
He is hilarious. He is.
But if you want to close this out for everybody, that's all I got for us. Don't forget about, our little shop. Go support us. Go wear some nice merch we got going on.
Listen, thank you, Cleveland fans, and maybe non-Cleveland fans, for watching this episode. If you have any suggestions, comments, concerns, opinions, feel free to comment down below. And I might make a little TikTok about this and put it out tonight, so maybe I'll hear from you guys there too. So thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next week, hopefully after a loss.
Peace. Like, comment, subscribe.